I was expecting to see Kane too, but are you going to introduce the information? Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know if anybody else was speaking yet, so
Yeah.
it's going to take
Oh,
a
we have
report.
given Kane speaking rights, I understand. Yeah. Yeah, just 5 minutes, but anyway, welcome, Martin. Yeah, good to
We'll
see
let
you
Kane
here.
go first.
Yeah. So. Yeah, welcome, Kane. Yeah, please take a seat. Yeah, good to see you here. Thank you. But we'll let Martin introduce the report. Yeah.
Just let Kane go or introduce the report?
Well, I think if you introduce it and then let Kane have his time. So I'm just saying that we gave Kane the 5 minutes, and so we'll be ringing a bell and just giving him give you a notice when you come to 4 minutes. That's all. Yeah.
Cool. Good morning. Yes, this is a report from a notice of motion from the Awamutu and Kihikihi Community Board around fluoridation. In essence, I'll take the report as read and happy to answer any questions once Kane's given his point of view.
Okay, thanks, Martin. Okay, over to you, Kane. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. The recommendations are designed to halt further wasteful ratepayer spend on fluoridation and to finally settle this issue by having an independent review of the science and/or a tribunal where both sides can be heard on this issue. I've sought the views of the Cambridge Community Board and hope we can have fluoridation on the agenda there soon. Cambridge Community Board's role is to advocate for the community to ensure democracy is observed. I can see another Cambridge connection situations occurring there if this does not happen. Relating to the first recommendation, Waipa District Council is now out of step with the majority of councils who have received the unlawful directive. Out of the 10 elected councils due to start adding the toxin this year, 8 have pushed back. 6 councils, the Far North, Whangarei, Kawerau, Tararua, Nelson and Waitaki, have requested extensions to their start date. 2 councils, Rotorua and Horowhenua, have paused work on their implementation. 1 council, Hastings, has started fluoridation and is now facing legal action. That hearing is on Thursday. Nelson City Council Mayor Dr. Nick Smith, formerly a National Party MP, organised the Nelson City Council extension. The extension discusses that the legal issues need to be resolved. There is an ongoing case against the Director General of Health, and future extensions can be obtained beyond 31 December 2024. The Council needs to heed the warnings. No one can tell you to carry out an unlawful directive. Relating to the second recommendation, as previously discussed, the NTP report identified 52 of 55 human IQ studies that showed a lowering of IQ, the average of which was a 7 IQ point reduction. New research, Grunging 2023 identified that 1 IQ point is lost at 0.3 part per million. He then applied a safety factor of 10, which identified the safe level where no at-risk subset groups, pregnant mothers and babies, were harmed was 0.03 part per million, effectively 0. We fluoridate at 0.7 to 1 part per million. 1 part per million is 33 times that level. Most importantly, the Ministry of Health is relying on an erroneous point made in the 2014 Prime Minister Chief Science Advisor report that has been continued in the 2021 update. Here is the error, and it is the key to understanding this issue. The report includes this incorrect statement. Further, the claim shift of less than 1 standard deviation suggests that this is likely to be a measurement or statistical artifact of no functional significance. This statement is incorrect. 1 standard deviation is 15 IQ points. The research that the report is relating to is the 2012 Harvard review, which found a 7 IQ point reduction. 7 IQ points is absolutely significant. Lead lowered IQ by 4.25 IQ points, and we don't argue about lead not being neurotoxic. The Ministry of Health defended lead right up until 1996 when they took it out of leaded paint and leaded petrol. 20 years later, research by Rubin 2017 found that lead was lowering children's IQ. Many countries had banned lead in the late 70s, 80s, but the Ministry of Health defended lead right up until 1996. This recommendation simply involves writing a letter to the Director General of Health, identifying all of the recent high-quality research and pointing out that the Council has received the concerns of the community. The request is asking for the Director General of Health to arrange the independent review, not the Council to undertake that review. Relating to the third recommendation, the tribunals in New Plymouth 2011 and Hamilton 2013 both returned votes against fluoridation, continuing because the evidence was able to be consumed over a period of time in a fair and even-handed manner. Indeed, a tribunal has been determined to be the most appropriate way to deal with these complex issues. The Ministry of Health is a biased entity with a policy position to promote fluoridation. In fact, the Ministry of Health is in the minority. They are out of step with the Ministry of Health equivalents in continental Europe. Not one country in continental Europe fluoridates their water supply. So we're saying the Ministry of Health knows more than France, Germany, Austria, Italy, Denmark, Sweden, etc.
It's just the 4 minutes, so yeah.
The reason the Te Awamutu and Kihikihi Community Board continually comes back on this issue is because it is a dynamic, evolving issue, both nationally and internationally. Currently, there's the US court case, which the ruling should be coming out any day now on the neurotoxicity of fluoride. Our goal is to not be deliberately argumentative, rather raise concerns about the safety of our most vulnerable and unborn children and infants exposed to excess fluoride. Please support an independent and transparent review of the science so that we can finally move on.
Thank you, Kane. Thank you. So, good presentation. Any comments or questions? Oh, yes, Roger.
I think this is through you, Madam Chair. In terms of the 3 parts of the motion that we have in front of us, is it possible to treat each of those individually?
Oh, thanks for the question, Roger. And we've already discussed that, you know.
Need to reword.
Oh, okay, so it is possible, but we might need to reword some of the recommendations, that's all. Yeah, so will you be able to do that, Joe, and put it up on the screen? Is that right? What is the rewording that's needed?
It's just because you've got the agrees not to at the end of all of the parts. So you change that one. So you're noting everything, get rid of the does not agree, and then we divide them into separate ones. Because
Right.
otherwise you're missing the doesn't agree at the end.
Okay, all right, thank you. Is that all right with you, Roger? Is that okay?
Yes, certainly.
Yeah, okay. I do have a question about how best to handle the input from the Cambridge Community Board. Like you mentioned that they are looking at the issue because at the moment they're the community that's directly affected. Yeah, and you mentioned, I think, Kane, that they are looking at having it on an agenda item in the future.
Yeah, I understand
Oh,
that's the case.
actually, I see Monty's, he's it
Could
on
I
it,
answer that, being a member of the
Yeah.
Cambridge Community Board? So Kane presented to the recent Cambridge Community Board meeting. It was in the public forum. Therefore, no ability to discuss or make a decision because it wasn't an agenda item. So it was left as an open question whether the community board might like to entertain it being on a future agenda. I'm obviously not the chair of that, and so I'm not in control of the agenda, but it's no more advanced than that is what I'd suggest. So it would be incorrect to say there's imminent feedback coming from Cambridge Community Board, I would believe.
Okay, thank you.
Just on that point, there was a,
Yeah.
Joe Davis did send an email out, which I can read to you with your permission.
Yeah, that would be really helpful, actually,
Yep.
Martin. Thank you.
So it was to Kane, Dawn, myself, the Mayor and Deputy Mayor. It says, Kia ora, Kane, thank you for presenting to us at the public forum last week. While we acknowledge your request for a decision on the feedback to Council regarding the fluoridation of our water supply, standard orders prevent any debate or decisions on matters raised during the public forum. Due to this, we were unable to provide you with the answers to your questions last week. Having considered this further, the matter of fluoride is not something we will be requesting a report on future agendas. We are aware this matter is being addressed at Service Delivery Committee tomorrow.
Okay, oh, right, that's good, because I didn't want to be interfering in community board meeting business. Yeah, over to you, Mike.
All right. Yeah, I don't mind interfering. Hey, I'm surprised at the silence from the Cambridge community on this topic, to be fair. And she brought up some points that resonated with me a little bit there around the lead, which as a kid, I used to use it all the time, painting the bottom of boats. And if you look at asbestos, it was in a lot of the products that we used until we decided we couldn't, or were told we couldn't. And I guess for me, it's that question of, you know, when did people know that it wasn't great for us before the laws changed that we couldn't use it? And just possibly, maybe this is one of those, but maybe it's not. But I am pretty stunned at the Cambridge disengagement around this topic. Now, I don't know if it's disengagement because people just really aren't that aware of it, because you can think you've advertised something, given people a lot of time, I guess, to look at something, but a lot of people, as been mentioned in some of these other who this morning, don't read everything. So I'm pleased, Roger, that you did ask for this to be broken down into the three parts, and we had discussed that prior to this meeting, actually. Because I actually would like the Cambridge community, whether it's through the community board or not, but to actually engage in this as a community. Not that it's that we don't have to consult. Just because we don't have to consult doesn't mean you don't have to. So that doesn't wash with me as a councillor and as someone living in Cambridge. So I think however we vote here, doing it individually gives us each the opportunity to actually put forward what we think here. But my challenge to the Cambridge community is actually, I think this is worth engaging with, worth having a conversation around beyond what's happened so far, which is fairly silent. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Now I've got Monty first, then Roger, I think, and then I've got some other people which I'll address later.
Okay, following from Councillor Pettit's comments, I've got a pretty clear view on this that doesn't align with Councillor Pettit or the points you've made, Kane. And it's the argument for me is it's pretty clear, and it goes like this. You might turn out to be right on all this, and I'm making no judgment about the rightness or the wrongness of the science or your position, okay? But the appropriate place for this to be dealt with is at the Director General of Health level, and you and your group engaging with them is all appropriate. The High Court action for the judicial review of the decision, entirely appropriate. I've got no problem with any of that, and that is all the correct procedure for me. What I don't like is community boards and territorial authorities almost being used as kind of leverage in this debate. To me, that's an inappropriate use of what we're here for. Okay, not inappropriate, and like I'm not saying, you know, it's not a pejorative term. That it's more just I don't think it's the way forward. The way forward is to engage with the Director General of Health. This is how science works, right? Science is this fluid moving thing. As scientific evidence builds up, opinions change and so on. And you're operating in that space, and I think you are most effective in that space engaging at Ministry of Health level. So for me, this isn't a local community issue. This is a complex scientific debate best handled at Director General of Health level. And so I don't think that we should be engaging in this myself, okay?
Okay. Well, you are allowed to respond to the person that asked you questions, and then I have other questions that are
Yeah,
waiting.
thanks. Yeah, so the thing is, Mike, that the Director General of Health does not take feedback. So we have pointed out the, mistake, I'm going to use that word as opposed to the fraud word, that they are not accepting the 7 IQ point reduction. They will not listen. So therefore, it's incumbent upon the communities to go back and point that out. That is why we're going via the councils. And there's a pretty clear view, 8 out of 10 councils are now pushing back. This is a national issue where councils are pushing back now.
Okay, thank you. Now I've got other questions. So Liz? and
Yeah,
Gail,
yeah. Look, this obviously has been, I guess, oh, sorry, Roger, but I haven't had a turn yet and you've already had a turn. So we'll come back to you later. Look, this has been canvassed around our table for a number of times. And I guess the message has always been clear. This is a health issue. We believe there is a government organisation already set up who has far more skill and I guess education around this matter than we do around this table. So again, echoing a lot of what Monty has said, the DHB, the Director of Health, this I still feel sits with them. But coming back to Mike's comments, I agree as a community, this is a conversation, and Cambridge, in my mind, and Te Awamutu have been reasonably silent on this. I believe that when fluoride was, started in Cambridge, that the matter was highlighted through our local papers, through social media, and I think people have actually just chosen, they've made a choice for themselves. So although it's been silent, I think people will choose. They will choose to drink the water or they will choose not to. And there are alternatives to drinking non-fluoridated water by purchasing elsewhere. So I believe that's where our community sits at the moment. But I do feel that the issue was canvassed at the time and that this is simply a choice that people will make for their own whānau and their family and those that they look after. So that's my thought on it.
Sorry, the Supreme Court ruled in 2018 that it's compulsory medical treatment and it's unavoidable. So there is actually no option for people to avoid it. So that's per the Supreme Court. The minister.
Yeah, I know it wasn't actually a question that you asked. Yeah, so.
And sorry, just one quick one. The 7 IQ point reduction, the Ministry of Health, they don't know the science.
Okay. Thanks, Kane. I think what Liz is saying is that these are really complex health and science issues that none of us really have got, I suppose, the background to be able to make a judgment on. Now, I'm struggling a bit. Sorry, Roger, I forgot that you had
that's
already,
all right, Madam
yes,
Chair.
but no
No,
offence
that's fine.
intended.
I actually agree with parts of everything that has been said. My view on this is that it's the ongoing nature of the judicial review, which is going on, and there's already been a precedent set by the council that has requested the time extension through until the end of the year. And that's the part of the 3 clauses that we have in the comment here. I agree with the first one. I think we should write to ask for the extension. I don't think it's a decision that we should have to make. But in terms of asking for that extension, I believe that the discussions that will be ongoing in the review will actually come out with a determination. And therefore, I think we should ask for that extension to allow that determination to be made. But I don't think we should actively become involved in either of the other 2, which I believe are a matter of health and the Department of Health. So I would support the first clause, but not the last 2, because I think that enables that time to be put in place.
So just on that point, I think Dawn would like to make a response.
Thank you, through you, Madam Chair. That first one doesn't actually relate to Waipa District Council. So at the moment, we do not have a date for implementation at all. That date relates to Nelson City Council and their implementation. So we're still have been working with the ministry over the design of how the fluoridation may work within our water supplies. We have no agreement as yet, so we have no date of implementation to extend. So this was for us. Is not something that we can proceed with because we do not have a date yet.
In fact, what you might be saying is it's inappropriate for us to take that action until such time as we do have an idea of a date, and it could be safely left until that time?
Yeah, that was the idea in the report is if council decided they wish to ask for an extension of time, the appropriate time to do that is when we've got a date to start fluoridating, we would then request a delay in that time frame. We haven't got that time frame yet, so we keep that option open for when that arises.
Okay, thanks. That's quite helpful for me.
The clarification there then for me is, will that come back to us when we have a date of implementation, so we could make the decision whether or not to apply for an extension until the judicial review is completed?
Yes, we would hope that either before we get our date, that all the reviews are finished and it's finalised, or if not, we would then request that extension of time. Yeah.
So there's no way that the implementation of fluoridation of our waters could occur without it coming back to us first?
Yeah.
There's no way?
Yeah.
Yeah, good, thank you.
So, sorry, Martin, you're saying that, yes, you will.
We would bring it back to council and update you and say that we've finished the installation, we're ready to go live. This is our go live date when we must go live by. Do you wish to seek an extension of time?
Okay, all right. So now I have a question from Lou. Anyone else? Okay, and then Dale Marie. Thank you.
Thank you, through you, Madam Chair. Just a point of clarification, Martin. As I believe it, when we receive the final date, we then have 9 months for implementation. Is that correct? As I read the act, as I looked at it the other day, and we have 9 months from the time that the government or the Director General ratifies our implementation, and then we have got a period of time that will be a positive.
Yep, so once we've agreed the final design and agreed the funding arrangement, we then get 9 months to install that equipment and start fluoridation. So when the clock starts ticking. So we've got that time period then to seek further time, should we wish to.
Okay, thank you. Oh, yeah, well, I've got Dale Marie and then Mike again.
Tēnā koutou, through the chair. I thank you, Roger, for the points of clarity, because that was really important. I'm going to side with Mike Pettit on this. I've got a couple of things. I'm really uncomfortable with being in local government position and having to sign off something that a community is not talking about, and that at my position, someone's going to be receiving something that they don't have a choice to have. Another thing is, I'm wondering whether this is a treaty breach, and if any of the iwi entities are picking this up more around the Māori and how the Māori of the water is being affected by something being injected into it. And that is something that I will point out, because we are worrying about that with our Cambridge project and the way that we are reinserting the water back into the river. So I'm just going to point that out. We have now know that the Director General has been wrong in some of the decisions that they have made in the past around consent. And so I'm just going to have it noted, please, for the minutes. I'm really uncomfortable about the fluoride issue. I've done some significant reading around other councils and their positioning. And at this stage, yeah, I'll just have it noted. I'm really uncomfortable with this, and I think this could be a treaty breach. Kia ora.
Kia ora, thank you. Okay, and then Andrew. Oh, sorry, Mike, sorry. Yeah, Mike, then Andrew.
That's right.
I'm not
Tough
following
day,
through.
tough day at the office. Yeah, hey, just I'm not actually going to respond to a couple of people, but yeah, my one here, I guess, is actually number 2, because I actually understood number 1, because Martin did make it clear in there about the dates and things, and the number 2 is not actually really. That's not about the community. That's just requesting the Director General of Health that, hey, it looks like there's some new information of significance. Let's go back and review this. That's what number 2 says to me. So it's not a, yeah, it's just a, hey, have we got this right sort of thing? There's some new research. We should be investigating it.
Okay, thank you for that. Now, Andrew.
Thanks. So how long before the clock starts ticking, Martin? When's the design's going to be completed?
But yeah, open-ended question, that one. I mean, we've been working with them since the original mandate to fluoridate. It's been hard work and slow, and other people obviously been ahead of us in the game, that's fine. I don't think anybody's rushing at the moment. But because,
Interesting.
until there's a formal decision one way or another, I don't think anybody's rushing into progressing too much anyway. I think there's a natural hold happening.
All right. Okay. So I think we've pretty much had our questions answered. Yeah. I haven't spoken about it yet. I think that it's sensible to wait for Waipa to be ready to fluoridate and then review where we are at in the processes. So I'm actually comfortable with not actioning that first part of the notice of motion that we act on. About the independent panel of experts, I mean, my understanding is that the correspondence that we had from the Ministry of Health earlier with regard to this issue is they did give an assurance that they were keeping a watching brief on how the science was evolving. And, you know, Kane's helpfully pointed out to us that there are legal actions and other sort of decision points that are actually being progressed as well, which I actually feel that the Ministry of Health will take account of. Yeah, so I'm not feeling that, you know, the need for an independent panel of experts to be involved. And I'm also very conscious that given our budgeting and how tight things are, I would be disappointed at funds being directed from something else to fund that. So that's where I'm at. Anyway, so I think we're ready to do our voting on the motion. So, oh, sorry, we're just going to wait for Joe. Is that right? And you're going to put it up on the big screen for us, Joe? Yeah, thank you.
So have we gone to an amending motion straight away, Claire? Is that what's happened here?
This is a proposal for you to consider if you want to do it on parts. So maybe if I just show you how I've drafted it, and then you can decide whether you want to take the motion as it is in the report or whether you want to take it in parts. Just in B, I've just added in Kihikihi up there because it's Te Muru and Kihikihi Community Board. I took out the agrees not to support the recommendations from at the bottom of B. So the purpose now of resolution B would just be for you to note the 3 recommendations that came through from the board there. And then what I've done is pulled each of those 3 elements from B and put the preface in front of them, agrees not to support the recommendation from the Te Muru and Kihikihi Community Board that council, and then done the same with all of them. So that really kind of puts C, I think, if you were gonna, you couldn't take B in parts as it was, so that really kind of creates the mechanism in C, D and E for you to take what was B in parts if that is something that you wish to do.
Can I just raise a point of order? Is that at the moment, we're talking of the 31st of December, 2024. That's not 9 months away. That's actually shortening the time, not lengthening it. I'm saying, look, hold on, what are we voting here for? We don't want it. Martin said that we're still in limbo as far as doing this, and we're certainly not 9 months away from the end of May for the 31st of December.
I think we have to take what the notice of motion was from the Te Muru Kihikihi Community Board, and that's what was the wording of that motion. And then we are deciding whether or not we're going to agree or this agrees not to support. Yeah. Yes. So Andrew.
Yeah, look, having heard all of the debate and discussion and facts and whatever, and the fact that the 9 months haven't started and there's no hurry, which I'm quite happy about, I would just like to move the original motion that's sitting there.
Oh, okay.
So I'm quite happy to do that.
Okay. All right. So, and you're willing to second that?
I'm happy to second it.
Yeah, and then we'll see how that goes. And if it's if that's carried, then we don't have to consider an amendment.
Yeah.
So it's just I'm a bit worried about the discussion about the need for the community, but to have some engagement on it.
That's separate.
But it could happen separately to the motion. Yeah, we don't actually have the jurisdiction to actually direct a community to do some engagement, do we?
And
Yeah.
I mean, we've got the two Cambridge Community Board members around the table as well. If they feel that things have changed, they can certainly go back to the community board
Yeah,
with the comments from this meeting. I suspect that the community, Chair Joe will be listening anyway.
okay, yeah,
So in terms of making sure the community have had enough opportunity, I'd like to think that yeah, it could still go back to them.
yeah, okay, cool. And we did get that feedback from that email that the community board, Cambridge is expecting this committee to be dealing with this issue. All right, so I'm being very careful procedurally because I have a mover and a seconder for that motion, for the recommendation that is in our agenda. So I'd like to put that motion. All in favour, please say aye. And against? All right, so I've got 3 against. And would you like Roger, you weren't, but were you against or for? I just want to know whether or not you want to recorded that you voted against the motion. Yes, yeah, okay.
Sorry.
Oh, okay, all right, thank you. So we've got 4 against, and so that means that it has been carried. And I'm just checking who wants their vote against this motion to be recorded.
Everyone,
Okay.
are you voting against?
Oh,
I think you put the motion, it was clear at the time there were 3 against.
yeah,
And I think we might have to
I would
redo it or
disagree.
something else, but I think that Roger and Philip, you made it really unclear which way you were going. So Chair, I think you need to do something.
Joe, could we have some guidance on this? Like, I was under the impression there were 3 that voted against, but since then, trying to get clarity on who voted against, now that's changed.
I think if it's unclear, that I think the wise thing would be to put the motion again, because I think what we do need to have clarity on who's voting for and against, and everyone needs to be really clear on what
Okay,
their
right.
position is.
Thank you, that's very helpful. So we've got a mover, Andrew, seconder, Liz.
Yeah.
All in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against?
So
Okay.
against is councillor Paget, councillor Gordon, councillor Morgan, committee member Kara and councillor Cole.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, but it has passed, it's carried?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. All right, thank you. Really appreciate everyone's cooperation in getting this dealt with. Thank you. And thanks for your forbearance on my part here. All right, okay.